Today we're going to talk about CCing a combustion chamber. Now, what CCing a combustion chamber is we are measuring the combustion chamber volume. And what the combustion chamber volume is how much area that is. And we do that with liquid. So what we have here is a 3RZ cylinder head, 2RZ, 3RZ cylinder head. This head was freshly rebuilt. We did upgrade the valves, but we didn't go crazy with anything bigger. So it is going to be pretty close to stock. Now with a valve job, sometimes it sinks it down a little bit, then they deck the head, so it kind of brings it back, but we're going to see what's going on here. So if you look at this combustion chamber right here, you'll see that there's nothing too extravagant going on. There's no spark plug in it, but the one we're going to be testing actually has a spark plug in it. We got to plug the hole, and that's the spark plug. It's approximately the same heat range that we're going to be using. And what we have here is just a plate that comes with this beaker here. It's got a hole in the center of it, and what we're going to do is we're going to fill it up with this fluid. So we're going to fill this combustion chamber up. It should fill up as a bubble and slowly start migrating itself to the hole, and then we'll shut this valve off here as soon as that gets all the way to the top. And then what we'll do is we'll come over and we'll see how many cc's it took to fill that chamber. Now I have developed a table here on my spreadsheet, so we can put numbers in here and it automatically comes down and calculates the compression ratio. So right now we just have some rough numbers in it. We're going to see what it really is. Our bore and our stroke, that is 100% correct. The piston volume, that's not quite correct right now. We're working on combustion chamber volume, and we'll come back and we'll do the piston volume. We do have the pistons rods inside the block, so let's go ahead and get to it. Getting ready to start it now. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is centered above that hole, but it's centered in that hole. So we're going to just open up this valve just a little bit. We don't need to go full throttle. We're just going to let it drip in there nice and slow. What I'll do is I'll speed this up a little bit. And we can see that the combustion chamber is starting to fill up. Now, all this is mineral spirits, and we put a little bit of ATF in it, a little bit of transmission fluid for colors. This way it's easier to see what's going on here. So we can see when everything is starting to fill up. Go ahead and slow this down a little bit. I'm kind of moving the head around a little bit, trying to keep that bubble as close to the center as possible. Okay, what do we have here? 58, so 60, a little over 59, so it looks like 59.2. So let's come over here, we'll type in 59.2. So see, it changes the calculations. We can adjust out the head gasket. We'll come back and do the pistons, and I'm sure that the piston volume is going to be a lot lower, so that'll help us to bring that compression ratio back up again. So that's it. We've got the beaker, we got the fluid, combustion chamber is full, and that's it. We're done with this one. Hello, this is Gabe from S&P Speed Innovations, and what we're going to do next is we are going to CC the piston volume on the short block. This is a 3RZ short block with some low compression pistons in it. And we're going to go through the process and how we actually CC the piston volume. Now, we can always go off the sheet, and the sheet will actually tell you what the piston volume is, but we're going to do it while it's inside the engine because there's some variables. One of the variables you're going to have is that sometimes the piston will be below the deck surface, sometimes it'll be above the deck surface. So what we're trying to do is get the actual compression ratio based on the placement of that piston, whether it's down inside the hole or above the hole. So that's what we're doing here. So if we look closely, we can take a look over here and see. Because right now we're right at 0, we're at the top of the piston. Now this one we've already measured, but we just kind of did this just so you can see the difference. And what we see is that there's about a good 12 thousandths difference. That means that this piston is out of the hole by about 12 thousandths. And right now the way we're measuring it is we're measuring it here and here. If you try to measure it on the sides like this, the piston will rock, so sometimes you'll get a higher number on one side than the other. But if you try to measure on the wrist pin, then you're going to be as close as you can, and there's no rocking this way. It's always going to rock this way. So we have 12 thousandths. So because we're out of the hole by 12 thousandths, it's extremely difficult for us to try to get an actual piston volume measurement, because our plate here has to sit on top of something. But right now, that piston is higher than the deck surface. So that's not going to give us what our actual compression is, because what we have is we have the outer sides of the piston that's now coming into the head gasket area. We have to calculate for that. That's very important, so we can actually get the absolute static compression ratio. So now we know that this is above the deck surface, and we zeroed our deal out here. We'll make sure, just kind of rotate it, slow it down, just to make sure we're at 0. Okay, now remember, our plate has to seal completely flat against a solid surface. The only way we can do that is if we take this piston, we go down below this deck surface. So we're going to do that. We're going to go down about 30 thousandths. So we're going to go either direction. We'll go this way. This way it looks better for the camera. So we have, oh, wrong way. Okay, it's 10, 20, 30. Okay, so now the piston is down below the deck surface, and it was above about 12 thousandths. We moved the piston 30 thousandths. So we have about, what's that, 18 thousandths. So the piston is roughly 18 thousandths down in the hole. But we moved the piston 30 thousandths, so that's the number we're going to use. We don't really care how much it is below the deck surface, although it does apply. But we're talking about how much movement we have. And we moved about 30 thousandths downwards. So we'll set this up. Let's get ready for the next test. All right, so as you can see here, we put a little bit of grease around the block there, on the block side of it. We'll try to wipe this off the piston. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to check the level on the block itself. And we'll put this way. See if we're pretty level there. That's good. It's kind of up a little bit onto this side, and that's good. We don't want it to be completely level. It actually makes it more difficult, because then we got to be in the center. So it looks like the back is higher than the front. That's perfect, because what that means is we can put this right here. Because this is the highest point, because that's the highest point, that means that when we start to fill this, the bubble is going to start going this way. It'll naturally go that way, which is great. That'll be in our favor. So that means it's easier for us to try to track the bubble down. We don't have to try to move this around too much, so we can get the bubble where we want it to be. Now we've got the deck surface set up. We got a little bit of tape on here to protect some stuff. Keeps this from scratching it up. We've got our plate on here now. We got it set up pretty close to where we want it to be. Our beaker is right at 0, pretty close to it. And we're just about over the center of that hole. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do just like we did the cylinder head. We're going to run it in there slow and fill that up. Now we're going to do this quick, and the reason why is because we did not pack the sides of the piston with grease. That means it is going to go down. It's going to find the ring gap somewhere, and it is going to try to drip it down the cylinders. So we're going to try to get this filled as quickly as we can before we lose too much around the rings and down and around the bottom of the block. Now it's not dripping, so we're not losing anything yet. So we're pretty close. Okay, there we go. So what do we have? 27.4. So 27.4 cc's. All right, let's go punch that into the computer there and see what we got. So stay tuned. We're going to try to put out more content just like this. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that stalker stuff. We love it. We need it. Plus, it helps us to keep this whole ship moving. So thank you very much, and have a great day.